welcome to this Knitty Life. My name is Rachel. I'm coming to you from Leeds, West Yorkshire, where I live with my husband, my 2 children, my 2 dogs, my 2 hamsters, and now 6 fish. Thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you very much to all of the new subscribers that we've had lately, and to all of those returning. It's much appreciated to have people coming back each week. It's really does give you a real good boost. If you want to find me on the internet, you can find me as this_Knitty_Life on Instagram, and on Ravelry I am Reward, and I will put the details where the details normally go. So we're on episode 67. Today is the 3rd of March. We are now in March, which is just nice to know that we're creeping towards more so the light. I don't love the cold, but the light bothers me. On a morning going to work, I leave very early. I'm a teaching assistant in a primary school, and I do the breakfast club shift, so I leave kind of early in the morning and consequently finish at lunchtime, which is quite glorious. So yes, I've got a finished object to show you. Definitely a couple of brand new whips which I've not been able to put down, and little bit of acquisitions. So that's probably all I've got to show you today. So I hope you guys are well. I'm going to grab myself a drink. I've got myself a fresh can of my favourite. I've just had myself a jacket potato and beans and tuna and cheese for lunch. So I am quite full, to be honest. I wouldn't mind a little bit of a nap. But alas, the school run is 10 past 3. It's 25 past 2 now. A little bit delayed due to this, that and the other. My children are out at 10 past 3. So let's get going with this podcast. So my finished object is what I'm wearing today. Record time, I think I knit this in. So this is the lento sweater by the person who made the lento sweater. I forgot her name. You all know the lento sweater. I had just cast this on the last episode, and now it's finished. So I'll probably insert, I do have a video. So what I have done with this one is I have added a garter ridge. So straight away, I think actually now I've looked at the pattern, you're supposed to do provisional cast on. I just cast on the number it says to start off with. I can't think what it is, but just cast that on in a smaller needle. And then when you do the short rows at the back, make sure you remember and you do the opposite. I think I did a slight error somewhere, so the squidged together, but I just ended up doing a garter down the edge, and I really like it. You see, I guess there's some lighter bumps here, but yeah, really pleased with how this came out. It's cropped, but not too cropped. This one is in Die Candy, and it is called Better Days. I've had this in my stash for quite a while, and very pleased to use it. It's actually an Aran. The sleeves are, when I first put it on, they were like here, and I guess we'd call this bracelet length. Wrist. This is my wrist, in case you didn't know what a wrist was. But as I wear it, they creep further and further up, which is quite nice. I do have some army tattoos. Not army, but you know what I mean. On my arm. And it's quite nice that my watch isn't kind of covered and bulky. The weather has been a little bit changeable in the UK, so sometimes I've been putting this on in the morning and then putting a cardigan over the top as I drive. Don't like to drive in coats. My cardigan is just a shop bought one, but that's still in the cupboard at school. I left it there on Friday and I forgot to get it. Should you need to know that. But yeah, this is the lento. It's like lento number, I think maybe 8. I'm not quite sure, but I did post some details about this the other day on my Instagram and did a little bit of a reel on that. I've been trying to do a little bit more fancy things on there, here and there. But yeah, absolutely love it. I had 3 balls of the Aran. I think I knit the smaller size because I think the smaller size from memory is like a 38 chest. I'm not quite sure what I am. It was always 34, but then I went up and went down and up and down. So I'm not quite sure what I am, but it fits quite nice. I don't like a huge amount of ease, to be honest. But yeah, not much else to say about that other than it's amazing. I do knit it on a 3.5 needle. I don't tend to go to a 6. Even though this was Aran, I didn't want to go to 6. I did not do any changing or any, is it called helical knitting? I just did it. The sleeves are slightly more purplier than the body, but I don't think you can tell. So I think I did the body and up to here in 2 skeins of Aran, and then the arms are in the same skein. I've got like a tiddly bit left. But yeah, really pleased with how far that went. So I can definitely get like a regular garment in 3, generally which is what I do. Or like sometimes I'll push it with 2 and short sleeves and different cuff collars and hems, cuffs and all of that jazz. So yeah, so this is my finished object. I very, very nearly had another finished object. I'll just move my drink. I'm a bit worried about that. Peggy is sleeping next to me. She's just down here, but she is snoring. Wilma's in a crate because she prefers a crate. They're very different dogs. This one has to be Velcroed to me, and Wilma definitely uses a crate as her safe place, which generally is what crates are supposed to be for. I had a ding dong, as I'd call it, with someone on a dog page the other day, who was horrified that I still crate my dogs at their age. Peggy's 4 and Wilma's about to turn 3 in a couple of weeks. It's like, why do you crate them? You should just rehome them if they don't fit it. Oh, just ridiculous. Just like, people are like fanatical about their dogs sometimes, and I adore my dogs, but people are fanatical about them. Each their own and all, but how about don't give me any grief when I've not actually asked for any advice? I was just trying to show compassion and empathy to someone else who was saying, I'm really struggling with my dogs. Oh, it's hard. They just jumped on her as well. Anyway, side note, the next one I was super duper nearly finished is my lento. I know, shocker. This is my Bouclé lento. I'm always quite surprised how you spell that. I'll put it on the screen. It's like B-O-U-C, and then I forget, something like that. But this is super nearly done, but it's not done. So this again is the same pattern. The sleeves I've started to do on 5. So I can't remember where I was, but this is how this is looking. That's the back. So stripey, 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 and a hem. So the sleeves are, this just needs a couple more rounds and then it needs the yellow. I do have a little bit left, so I'm going to use as much as I've got, but I'm kind of doing a bit on here. So they've actually both got live needles on as opposed to the wrong size, which is what I often do. I did the body on 5.5. Again, it's supposed to be 6, but I didn't want to do the fabric wise on 6, so I did 5.5, but I have gone down on the sleeves. I think I did normal size for a bit and then went down just because I didn't want it to be holy. So this is the Bouclé. This yarn is, I always forget this name for some reason. Hair on my face. Have fun and get stuff done, if only. Bouclé lento in Bobble and Badger. So I had 2 skeins of the Bouclé, which I have alternated with I don't know, deeper, darker and a lighter. And then I have used 4-ply held double or DK for the stripes. Sorry, the needles are clacking. So I'm just going to use as much as I've got left. So I've got, which one's this one? This is the darker one. I've not put cinematic on today, but sure you'll survive. So this is the slightly darker one. Ew, no. Sorry. Don't mind seeing the top of my head because I've dyed my hair, look. It's all like non-grey. I'm debating putting, I bought one of those caps, you know, when you can pull the hair through, and I've got a really red dye. I'm debating doing that. But I've not got around to it yet. But I only dyed it the weekend. Should you also need to know that? So yes, this is nearly finished. I probably could have got it done. I am finding, I really like the Bouclé and I love how it feels, but I kind of can't get a great deal of momentum going with it. It's not a fast thing to work with, just because of like, I think my camera's like the other way around. It's confusing me a bit. Just because of like the bobbles and stuff. I feel like it's going to catch and I can't just knit as speedily as I would. Like often I'll knit and read, and I certainly can do it, but not, I don't think I'd want to take this to like the cinema. Don't you hate it when that happens? It's like stuck through my knitting. I don't think I'd want to take it to the cinema. It's super nearly done, and I'm glad I've got it. And I have got some other skeins of only leftovers of Bouclé, but I don't know that I'd knit another garment. I don't know. I need to wear it first, but I think I would maybe hold it together with something, maybe even a 4-ply, because it says it's DK, but it's quite, I say quite fine. This has come out quite big. This might be quite a slouchy one. The neons are just here, there and everywhere. I think this is Rainbow Heirloom. I think that might be Rainbow Heirloom. Rainbow Heirloom's an amazing dye in Scotland. Siobhan's Knits, maybe? I'm not sure. So that one is nearly done. So obviously that'll be done super soon. So I'm just going to the sleeves as long as I can get them. So I just kind of, I'm going to say match up the colours like this. So yeah, that needs the yellow one, and they're not going to be full length, but not too far off. The other one must be on my sofa of doom, which is just looking at me at the minute. I've moved all of my whips, obviously, to here to show you, funnily enough. And now there's just a huge giant mess. Oh, there's the leftovers. So I've got this bit and this bit. So this is the lighter and this is the darker, actually, looking at that. So I can go a little bit further. And then what I did was it's over there on the floor. The hem and the rib is in one of the same yarns in just a 4-ply held double. So I can probably get further down with the sleeves. That's quite good, because I often regret not doing long sleeves because they're a pain, aren't they? Who likes them? Who likes doing sleeves? So that one's that. That one is super nearly done. A little drinky. Slow down, Rachel. Been a busy day. The kids were a little bit, I want to say wild today, frantic. You know, a bunch of 4-year-olds, what are you going to do? A bit hectic. It was a bit, I've not had a lot of regulation time to chill after school. Anyway, moving on. I'll show you a whip that you've seen before. I did just do a smidgen more on this, so I'm going to add it anyway. So this is my Vibes tee, and this is by Tiff Nealon. So I found my Kevin, which is this gorgeous neon from Die Candy. This is Born This Way by Floof Fibre, and then Kevin. I'm not quite sure what the dark purple is, but I'm not too far off. I'm not a million miles off. Splitting for the sleeves for this. I did start this last summer, but then, you know, the cold set in and I put it down, and then I couldn't find the skeins. So this is a gorgeous summer garment by Tiff Nealon. I've got quite a few of the Tiff Nealon's patterns. One of them is the Stripes of Joy jumper, which I really like, and I'm planning on getting one of those on my needles quite soon. So yeah, little smidgen of work on that. This is the Born This Way colour. I did actually buy this in a DK as well, one of the last shows, and this is amazing. Look, this is Kevin. Meet Kevin. I'm sure it's Kevin, not unless Kevin's orange. I have been putting them in. Yes, it's Kevin. So this is Kevin, it's by Die Candy, and that's who's done this one. Got quite a lot of Hutch's yarn. She's called Hutch, and she is in Ireland, Northern Ireland. Yes, I've got quite a lot of her yarn. You'll see it a little bit more later. I won't name the podcast to her after her this time again. So it was a very Die Candy heavy one. Got this and something else. So if you are a knitter in the knittery world and vaguely aware of social media-ness and that kind of thing, and watch all the podcasts, you'll probably have seen there's been a new pattern released recently, and I jumped on it. I wasn't going to jump on it. I really wasn't going to jump on it, actually. I did debate it on and off. And then my friend did a test sample of it, and it was gorgeous. and I just asked her a couple of questions about the pattern, and she's like, oh, I'm allowed to gift one to someone, so she gifted me the pattern. So thank you very much, Rebecca, for that. I super appreciate it. So you ready? Hold on to your hats, because this is scrummy. I was going to say scrumdiddlyumptious, but I didn't. Look at this. So this is the... I always get the name mixed up because there's a girl at school that's got a name very similar. This is the Kintra sweater. And this is by Crea Bear, which is Rebecca Clow. She's based in Scotland, I believe. So I showed you these minis that I got for my birthday. So these are from the Lonely Knitter, also known as it's Folk Yarn Studio. That's Laura, who hosts the East Anglia group show. Yes, so absolutely flew along with this one once I'd kind of got the hang of the pattern. So it's all just 1 by 1 colour work until you have a bit of an increase, and then there's a bit of a 2 every now and again. So can you see, these aren't mistakes, that's how it goes. It is, with this one, it is left leaning and right leaning increases, which is something that I absolutely fell down in on the one that I frogged, that I did the short for, the Andrew Mowry Bean one, but I mastered it now. So you can see this is where the increases go. So these are 5 20-gram minis. So hang on, let me just see what size in it, because I had 5 20-gram minis. I've definitely not used them all. So I brought my iPad over just to double check if I needed something. Clearly I do. Oh, got a reply from Giddy Knits. I can really enjoy them. I have to look, see what this is. So I've made the second size, and I can't actually remember what size it is, but I've made the second size. It is a DK yarn. The pattern does include 4-ply as well, so if you want to knit this on a 4-ply, I think it's set up for an advent, so it is set up for like 24, 25 colours as well. I've got 5, which I've repeated. I did have to do a little bit of planning beforehand, so her pattern is really helpful in the what you find, and I'll show you. Oh, my back's just a bit twingy. I'll just stretch my back while I'm doing this, like a chicken. What you find is often when you've got a colourwork chart, the chart that they give you is like coloured in to show you a reflection of the colours they've used. So I have cast on a new pattern, and that's what happened with that one. So I had to try and remember. But this one, they're like just charts, as in black and white charts. I can't really show you without showing you. So you have to use a different chart depending on how many you're using. So there was a bit of planning. So I guess I put a little bit of time into it. I think it was last Saturday, I did it really quick. A little bit of planning into it with my colours. So my colours, look, I've still got a decent bit left. There's a light pink, a pinkier pink, and then 3 different greens. So this is what I've got left. I'm pretty sure I've finished. So I just, oh near, that was oh no and oh dear, oh near. Sorry, dropping everything on the floor. So I just got like some felt tips that were like slightly different shades of green, like a dark green, a mid green, and a lighter green. And I just kind of coloured them in, and then I didn't like what I did, so I did another one. What I did do is I kept on printing the wrong page constantly of the pattern. That was really annoying. I think I did it 4 times, and I think I printed it, started colouring it in before I realised I'd done it wrong. I'm like, my thing's done. And I think what it does, it gives you like different sizes, and I would just clicked on. So when I print things, I do it on my phone, and it comes up like 1 to 20, and I just wanted to like say page 19 or whatever, but I just like miscounted what number it was, and I needed 20, so I was consequently printing a chart that looked extremely similar to the other one, but it wasn't. And I did it like 4 times. Every time I sent Theo upstairs, we've got a 3-story house, I sent Theo upstairs every time to go and get my printing. He's like, Mummy, please can you get it right this time? But yeah, I kept on messing up, but yeah, that is done. I've got a little witchy hat as a progress keeper, look, because this is my wicked yarn. So in theory, I believe that's ready for the next bit. So this is my friend's one. There's loads of examples. So hers is the red one, I believe. That's not my friend, because I don't think she could make the shoot. But I think that is her mum though. So yeah, really nice. I think, and this, I believe that this one is an Advent one, as in there's loads, 20, 25, I guess. But you would then use a smidgen of each one. Like it must really be a smidgy bit. What I think I might do next time, if I plan to make another one, is I'd like a rainbowy one. To me, when you look at that, that seems like the pink is the more prominent and the green is the background. What I think I might do is like say hold a much darker colour, so like a grey or a black, that kind of thing. And then where my pinks are, do a rainbow. So I think this would be very much kind of using what you have in stash, as opposed to order something that specific. You'd have to just, maybe people can figure it out, but you know, maybe I can't. But maybe, like, I hope you can see what I mean. Like, so this thing, so it goes bright green, mid green, dark green, bright pink, light pink, and then it repeats again, basically. But like say this line would just be grey, for example. For the collar, that is Castleview yarns. I pulled some stuff out because I was originally going to use this one, which is a Castleview, which is her super soft one. I've got 3 of these, but I do actually want to do a Whitmore sweater in this. And I didn't think it was the right Elphaba green, and I knew I had a better one. I only had one Loki, so this is Loki by Castleview Yarns, and it's got loads of black in it, which I thought was really good for Elphaba. I'm a fan of Wicked, in case you hadn't gathered. And then I found these 2, which I'm not quite sure what the name is, but they are definitely different to Loki. So can you see that this is obviously green, but Loki has got darker ones. So I've used this on the collar, and I am planning on either having Loki sleeves, because I don't think they're a million miles apart, or fading down into Loki, starting the sleeves and this fading down into Loki. So these are all on the same base, whereas then she introduced, you can see here, she introduced this base, which is her super sock, I think it is called Super Sock and Super DK, but can you see it's got a bit of a different twist compared to this one? I think this one might be actually a bit finer, and this one's a bit plumper. I don't know if I'd say it's a sport weight, but I think it's a bit slimmer, narrower, thinner, whatever word fits in there. But yeah, this yoke is pretty much done. Look how gorgeous that looks. Really pleased with it. How many times can I hold it up? Lots. Ooh, pretty, right? So yeah, that's the mess on my knee. It's horrific. I'm just gonna have a little sit and wind them up. Otherwise, I'm just going to descend into chaos, aren't I? So have you made one of these yet? I've seen a couple of people definitely start them. And what I've also noticed is that, you don't mind me looking down, do you? That when people have started them, they've not been able to put them down. So I did, like, I wouldn't say most of it in one go, but I did a good chunk of it in one go, because it's best to kind of get the yoke done, so you don't lose your place. And I just crossed it off on the chart as I went. So I didn't lose where I was. This one is actually on the needles. So I didn't lose where I was. But it's dead easy, one by one. Just make sure you're aware of which one your dominant hand is when it's one by one. So that means, like, your dominant hand is, I'm a thrower. Well, English knit, I don't know. So I knit with this one. Turn it around. I knit with this one, and then that one I throw, I guess. I don't know. But then this one is the dominant one, not this one, which will make no sense. But if you vaguely know what I'm talking about, then one kind of like raises up and one kind of goes slightly down, slightly lower, less dense, more dense because the other one's poofier. I'm not quite sure if I've explained that right, but I might just have to put this to one side. This one's attached to the needle too. Oh my goodness. So I've decided not to use this green one, so I have put the other ones away. So I'm not quite sure why this one's out still, but you know, this is just me being me. I'm just gonna put this away. So yeah, this is the Kintra. Checking I'm saying it right. And now I keep on calling the kid at school the name of the pattern. She's like, that's not my name. It's very similar. Yes, so that's that one. Right, a little sit and a little breather. And not too much to go now. I'm wanting to go and pick my kids up from school today. My daughter got her high school place today, which is well. She starts in September. So yeah, we just got the email today. Obviously I was at work and my phone was kind of like, well, my watch was lighting up of like, got in here. And it was pretty much a given that we live on the street of the high school. But obviously seeing everyone else getting them and we hadn't, I was like, ah. And then my husband texted me just before I went in and said that we got the email. And I assumed that that he told Martha, but seems that we got the confirmation 30 seconds after she went into school. And I was like, well, she's going to be worrying about that. So I nipped out and had 5 minutes. I lost track of the time and that was the school alarm. So I nipped out and I rang Martha's school and I was like, can you just please let Martha know that she got into the high school she wanted, rather than a little anxious soul worrying about that all day. So I'm excited to pick her up and I'll be excited. I'm sure I'll regret that as soon as I get there and she's likely overwhelmed from her day. Right, so now we're on part 2. So that's the first alarm that goes off at 10 to 3. And then it gives me 10 minutes and then that's 3 o'clock and I have to have left the house by 3 o'clock to get there by 3. That's how it goes. Right, next cast on. So anyone who has watched my short will recognise this yarn. So I did a little, I say short, it was like 7 minutes. So I frogged this, so it's all wiggly. I frogged this pattern, my Andrea Mowry, something in bean. Can't remember. Lots of people commented on actually saying that apparently the pattern's notorious for that, or they did that too in the pattern, but then other people have knit it like 5 times, so not an issue. So this is Spectrum Fibre and this is in the Peony colourware. I've had this for a very long time. So what I did was when I went to Lincoln, I took that with me and I cast on a rib and I worked on that a little bit, and I had this with me too. And I worked on it a little bit, but still wasn't quite sure what to do. So generally, patterns in the size that I do, the gauge that I do it, it's for a DK, it's a 96 cast on. So I cast on 96 and did 2x2 rib, because that's generally how most things start, I'm going to say. Bold statement. Lots of patterns seem to start like that. So I did that and I got as far as that, and then I kind of ummed and ahed as to what pattern to do. And a few people had kind of reached out and like, oh, have you decided what to do with the yarn yet? I just couldn't decide. I debated just like this kind of situation. But you know I like colour work. So I'll show you what I've done. I have frankly raced through this. I've just finished the colour work. So in this pattern, you do the colour work and then you do the short rows. Often, like with this one, it's a collar and then it's short rows. So I do German short rows to raise the back a bit. With this one and a few Tin Can Knits ones, like with, actually no, don't know if I'm lying for Love Note, can't remember now. With a few, you do the colour work and then you do the short rows. So I'll show you how good this is. Look how good it is. Da, 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 da. So this is the Sunshine Sweater, and this is by Tin Can Knits. It is knit in DK. The majority of this is in Spectrum Fibre, apart from the yellow neon, which is in Floof Fibre. So yeah, this is the Peony, and then this bluey colour is from her Christmas minis that she did. This deeper purple is a club colourway from earlier in the year. And then the purple and pink here were the ones that I got at Christmas. They've got, can you see they've got the neon neps? You can't actually see it a great deal. These little neon neps tend to go everywhere, so you can see a little bit of it. And then this is called Bryony's Nails, this orangey, corally, pinky. So that's all the colour work finished on that. So now I need to do a couple of rounds and then do the short row shaping. Couldn't put this down either. I think only a couple of days. It's quite a short. It's quite a short colour work. I have knit the sunshine. I'm just trying to look the pattern up so you can see the finished thing. I have knit the hat for Theo a few years ago, but I kind of went wrong on the pattern. It still looked fine, but so this is it's called Sunshine. Oh, I love her colours too. So that's hers. So as with Tin Can Knits, it goes from 0 to 6 months up to, I don't know, lots XL. So it is quite a short colour work, so this might be quite a good idea for anyone just learning or getting used to it. So there's only ever 2 colours used at once. So you can see the blue on this one is where I've done my neon. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how that's come along. So yeah, newborn up to 6XL. So yeah, top down, DK, it says 3mm, 4mm. I've got 4.5 because, you know, I'm defiant like that. So yeah, absolutely chuffed to bits with this. Super duper chuffed. Love how that works. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how this is working up. I might end up doing a bit of pink on the cuffs, but I'm not quite sure. I do plan on using some of these colours to do a Stripes of Joy, which I mentioned earlier. I can't really see the neon neps. You can a bit. But I'm planning on doing a Stripes of Joy. So yeah, that's my other new cast on. So that is all of my cast ons. All about the garments. I'm always about the garments, aren't I? I did mean to do a little bit of a wrap-up session of what I did in February. Obviously, if you've watched the podcast, you'll have, seen what I did. But I might just do a little couple of minutes short later on in the week of just my numbers of I did this. So that is all of my finished objects and my knitting. I do have a small acquisition. I did have an email today to say that my Spectrum Club colourware has been shipped today, so that should be here within a couple of days. So this was a mini club that I was telling you about. So this is the Die Candy. So you get 2 4-ply mini skeins. This is February 25, and this is how they look. Woo! On the floor, Rachel. So a creamy speckly and a pinky one. So I would like a little bit of help as to what pattern to make with these. I know that lots of people like crochet some squares, so I might do that. So 220 grams in 4-ply. So I might do that. I'm not great at crochet, if I'm perfectly honest. I might do some sort of I was debating some sort of sunburst, something or other. But I'm not quite sure what to do. So if you have any kind of pattern suggestions for quite a novice crochet, I would say, then yeah, let me know. So yeah, this is, like I mentioned before, it's 220 grams, it's £12 posted. So there you go. Yeah, so any pattern recommendations on that, please let me know. If you're planning on making a Kintra sweater, let me know. What colours are you planning? Are you going to use an advent? Are you not going to use an advent? Use a bit of stash. What equally, instead of just planning it out, is kind of nice, is just like, oh, this colour looks good next to this colour, good, that kind of thing, which is kind of how I did this. I didn't plan this really. I was like, oh, I might just do this. And I'm really pleased with how it came out. I do think that this pink neon nep is a bit too similar to this top colour. So I maybe would have liked more contrast in there in hindsight. But what do you think? Go to sneeze. Goodness, sorry. Here we go. So that's all I've got to share with you today. I a tiny minute of random house chatter. I mentioned about Martha's high school. We've had quite the drama in our house. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know we've had an escaped hamster. I feel like I mentioned this on my last podcast, that she got out just before we were going on holiday to Lincoln. She escaped. We had a different cage in the bathroom, and she's chewed away out of that cage and got herself under the floorboards. So we live in like a new build, and by new, it's like 13 years old. It's considered a new build. So we don't actually have floorboards. It's just like wood. So she got under there, and the only time we realised she was missing is when we were sat after school and we could like hear a noise literally from where I am now, and we're like, what is that? This is a strange time for Rocket to be awake. Go and check on her. Went upstairs, massive hole in her cage. So she'd obviously somehow got where she'd got to, and then she was just running the length of the rooms. So it goes like, there's a bathroom here, and then Theo's room, just the whole length of it. And it's quite a long way. That was zero fun. No way to get her whatsoever. Next day, obviously Martha's absolutely beside herself, very upset about that. I didn't know what was going to happen. I'd previously had hamsters that had escaped, and one we got back who was under the shower, and the next one had fallen from a big height and had died. So obviously, don't want my kid to be sad. So the next night, still hadn't got hold of her. Rob was off that day. I can hear it. We can hear her up. I think, well, that's good. She's alive. She's running around. And then my parents live in the northeast, and my dad said, do you want me to come? Do you have these tools? We don't have these kind of tools. Rob doesn't know how to do that. So he came with his jigsaw and his drill and everything, and like took the panel off the bath. And like, I don't know how she's got under there, but she wasn't necessarily directly under there. He jigsawed a hole in the floor, and like, I don't know, the joists of the house meant that she basically wasn't in this section. So that was rubbish. But how he'd got in, we'd managed to fit the water bottle in there, because that's what I was kind of concerned about, her dehydrating. And then still didn't get back. So day 3, a friend of ours came round in the afternoon after he got from night shift, and then he took the pedestal off the sink, and she got in down there. So that's how we did it. And again, another massive hole in my floor. And then I was downstairs, and then Rob had, unbeknownst to me, put an apple core down it, and she'd gone to get it, and he'd like pulled her out by this apple core, and he was just screaming. But because I didn't know he was doing that, I had both dogs, so I ran upstairs, and obviously they run after me. So he'd managed to get hold of it and put her in a tank that I'd set up for this. But obviously the dog's heads were straight in the tank. I'm like, no, let's not eat her after we've just got her. But he got hold of her, and then he dropped her like from standing height. But then we managed to get hold of her, and she was in this tank. But we're like, well, what are we going to do? Where are we going to put her? So upshot is, I drove to Manchester yesterday, or near enough, and got the fanciest tank in the history of the world. Martha set it up, and it looks gorgeous, but it's metal, and she's not getting out of it. And if she does, I've told Martha that's tough. She can just live in the wild. There have been our exploits this week in family dramas of hamsters. Hamsters are very complicated little creatures in terms of the space that they need. It's definitely not how it used to be when I was younger, in like a this much room, and they're not allowed in the ball now. They're not allowed tubes and pipes. But anyway, we managed to get her back. 3 days she was gone. There were 3 stressful days. The dogs were going mad because they could hear her, so they were just like this, because it was literally above them. So they were waking up early because they could hear her. So it's just been a bit of a nightmare, really. But we have her now. Do you have any hamster-related animal gerbil sneaking away stories? Please share below. So it's not just me, because she's busted through 2 really expensive cages. So I bought the most expensive cage in the land, secondhand, and it's still a lot of money. It is gorgeous. I'll put a picture up, and I do want one for Theo's hamster. He does have like a giant cage for her in a wooden one, which is not biting out of very different hamsters. Well, Syrians, but very different personalities. But she's not shown any sign, but the other one's so nice and smart and neat. And so I'm on the lookout for one. It's called it's BU and then cat state, buscat. I don't know. It's a funny word, but they're really expensive. So, and they're hard to get by. There's one in Blackpool, but it's too far to drive to Blackpool. If anyone lives in Blackpool and wants to pick it up for me and then meet me on the way to Leeds, that would be lovely. But yeah, they don't come up very often for sale. Well, that's all of my hamster chat for you. I definitely have got 7 minutes to get to school now, and I need to get the dog to wear my shoes on. So thank you very much for joining me today. I do really appreciate it. If you could like the video, it really does help. I do get like a good amount of views, but normally get like 250 views and 12 likes. It really does help with the algorithms and showing it here, there and everywhere. And I know everyone says that, but if you've kind of got this far, please, can you go back and try and like it? Because sometimes I do this and I watch it on my phone and then the video's finished and I've not liked it and it's taken me to a next video about something else, or it's taken me to an advert. So I've been trying to make an effort to go back and like, oh, I needed to like that video or comment, I'll interact or something, just to try and boost their numbers too, because it makes a huge difference. Like I had a real spike in subscribers and like, oh, it's jumped this many, so that's brilliant. And then I'd like gone and watched, and it was Franny Doo's podcast and she'd mentioned me in passing, and it really does help. I know I'm coming. It really does absolutely help, and I'm like, oh, thanks very much for mentioning it. This has really helped. So yeah, thank you very much for joining me today. I will be back next week with another non-episode. I'll maybe do a whip draw and see what is going on in one of my drawers. I'm not going to pull all of my whips out because that's just too overwhelming for me to put away. I might just grab one Kallax square, Expedit square, whatever you want to call them, and I will go through that and kind of see what is in there. I'm aware I've been looking in the wrong place. My phone is the wrong way around. I hope it's not been horrific. Thank you very much for joining me today. Please like and subscribe. That would be super helpful. If there's any questions you have about any of the patterns or yarn or anything, drop me a comment below. I'm pretty good at replying, or if you want to message me on Instagram, but I'd rather a comment below because that helps the video. Remember, that's what we're doing. Thank you very much for joining me. I know I'm mildly ridiculous. This bit of hair. Thank you very much for joining me today. Please take care of yourself and any others who you can help in this absolutely messed up little world we are living in. I hope this has offered you some light relief from our busy lives. Take care. Bye bye.